Hello, and welcome to the video for Playing with Stuff. Playing with the Nvidia Soul-Remix characters. Making our video. At this point, we have a project, we have a sequence, we can open it up here, and we can play it out in the engine. But now we want to share it with other people. So how do we do that? Well, we have the Render This Movie option inside of our sequencer. This little clapboard here. We'll click on it, and then now we can render it out. If we want to, we could hit Capture Movie right now, and it's going to go ahead and capture it out. However, by default, we're not going to get the audio. We went through, we put audio in, we want audio in our final project. Let's show you how to do that. So up here under Audio Output Format, you want to make sure it's under Master Audio Submix Experimental. You'll notice when we mouse over it, it also tells us we need to launch it with a special command. So let's go ahead and do that. Close this, close the project, go back to our launcher itself. We're going to go and download that file here in a second. Go into our library, and we need to create a shortcut. So go to your launcher version for your project, click the drop down option, and do Create Shortcut. And this will create a shortcut on your desktop for the engine. We can right click on that, do Properties, and we want to use a command line option called Audio Mixer. So at the end here, after our quotation marks, or no quotation marks if you don't have them, we want space, minus sign, and then Audio Mixer. Go ahead and hit OK, and now this shortcut will launch the engine with our Audio Mixer. We cannot launch it from here or from our project. We will not get the Audio Mixer if we do that. Launch it from the shortcut that you created. At this point in time, nothing's going to look any different. It's going to load up the engine just like before, but now we have the Audio Mixer enabled. Find our project. Let's open it up. Again, it's going to open up just like normal. Nothing will look different. The difference will be when we export out our movie, we will get audio this time. If you don't do that, you simply will not get audio. It'll look like you're getting audio. It'll pretend you're getting audio, but no audio will actually be saved. Open our sequencer back up. Go back to our render options, and let's quickly go over these. We want a video sequence AVI. We want the audio submix for audio. Frame rate and resolution, this is up to you. I'm going to go with these options here, 1280 by 720 and 30 frames per second, just to make this go quickly. The nice thing is this is computer independent. You could do 240 frames, 4K, and even if your computer can't do that in real time, it'll render it out slower, put it together at this frame rate and size, and it's going to look gorgeous even if you have a slower machine that can't handle it. Below this, we have a couple options we can ignore. Since we're going to be modifying this later and uploading it to YouTube, I would recommend not using compression. This will take more space, but you'll get the better original quality before we edit it. File name here and here is just the file name for the audio and the video. By default, it's set to world, so it's going to call itself Forge. And then where you want it to go is the output directory. After this, these are some optional options. One of them you will probably want to change. The other ones you may not. In this case, overwrite existing I've turned on. It's an advanced option you can see here. So that way if we re-render this out, it's going to overwrite the old file. And then you have the cinematic settings. Now, by default, these two are going to be turned on. Cinematic mode and engine scalability. If you have issues where when this renders out, you're missing things, like in our case, our character's completely gone, uncheck cinematic mode. Cinematic engine scalability is nice, though, because while we may be working inside of the engine at a lower setting, in this case, Epic, if we have that option checked, it's going to render out at the highest settings possible. So this would allow you to work on a cinematic in a low-end machine, maybe, but still get a high-quality output. Use Path Tracer if it's supported by your video card. You can turn this on, and you'll get a higher quality. That's it. We'll hit Capture Movie, and it's going to go ahead and capture the movie. Now I'm going to turn my speaker back on. And in the background, at certain points, you will be hearing audio. And you should hello. There we go. Welcome to our tour. Glad you could make it. Audio going back. What's happening is it plays through the first time, and it records back the video sequence. Then it blanks the screen, and it plays back a second time the audio sequence. Once that's done, we can open the folder, and we'll have two files. The AVI file, this is our recorded video, which you'll notice is playing back. but has no audio associated with it. And then our WAV file, which is just our audio and no video associated with it. So we want to combine the two. Now to do this, I use a program called AVI Demux. This is what I had open earlier. If you run it, so I'm going to go ahead, oops, I got to actually spell it properly, and run AVI Demux. I've already got it installed, obviously. You'll get this. This is where you download it. I've got the Windows 64 version installed, and I use this because it's super simple to combine stuff. I'll show you what I mean by that. So we have two stuffs. We have an AVI for video and a WAV for audio, and we want to combine them. So in AVI Demux, we go to File, Open our video file, and we have our video file. And we can scrub through it, and we can see our complete video file. Great. Add audio is really simple. We go to Audio, select Track. There's no audio in here. Enable an audio track. Click our first drop down to add an audio track. Add our forged WAV file. And now we have an audio track. So now if we were to export this out, we'd have a video and an audio track. However, these options by default are set to copy. So it's going to copy out in the high uncompressed format and the uncompressed audio. And these aren't going to work for like YouTube and Twitter. So we want it to be compatible. And super simple. Video output, instead of copy, we want the MPEG-4 AVC X264. Now I choose this because this is compatible with YouTube and Twitter for just direct uploading. For audio, we want the AAC LAV option. Again, you have other options. This is what I choose because it's compatible with YouTube and Twitter. So it's super duper compatible. And then the output format, this is just the container. Change this to MP4 because that's what a lot of people expect for these settings. At this point, we could export it out, or we could go, for example, and configure some things. Like in the video output, you can make it higher quality. You can change your frame rate analysis and settings. I mean, these are super fancy things. Honestly, leave it like this, or, well, we bump this up to like 10 for the quality because you can see low quality, high quality. We'll hit OK, and we're done here. We hit save. It's going to ask us where we want to save it and name it. This is fine. And it's going to export it out. You can change your priorities here. It'll take a little bit of time depending on your machine. But when it's done, you have an MP4 file that should be everything you want. So I'm going to unmute my speakers and run this. Hello. Welcome to our tour. Glad you could make it. And now we have a video playing back with audio. Our sequence is recorded. That shouldn't be happening. Oh, dear. And ends exactly like we wanted it. I'll mute my speakers again. And you'll notice instead of having our 1.3 gig video and 2 megabyte audio, we now have a 24 megabyte MP4 file that we can share with anybody else.